Hello guys, Tara here. I'm going to show you some mail art that I have made for Viva Las Vegas Stamps, and I'm going to show you actually how to make this one today, as well as a matching trading card for the ATC bash we're doing this week. Okay, so let me set this aside. When I do mail art, I do a variety of sizes of envelopes. This is a larger one that I'm going to show today because I kind of liked the big scenescape and I did not want to have the stamp without the other. I just love them together. Give you kind of a close-up of those guys. Western Postal guy here and the Fabulous Lady. My envelopes, as you can see, this one has a little bit of a color and texture. It looks kind of like resume paper maybe. And I chose to use this because I didn't want to have to ink the entire thing. So this will show you a simple way to start without having to ink everything. And I'm going to try to do this upside down, so please bear with me. Some of the things we're going to use, I'm going to use my VersaFine ink in black, or Onyx Black I believe it's called. The sky, I used the Distressed Weathered Wood. And I will use walnut ink for this lower portion here. And then my coloring, for the skin, I used the E00 Skin in White Copic. On the horse and some of the detail sections, I used the Distress marker in Antique Linen. I don't know if you can see that or not. We'll use the Distress marker in Vintage Photo. I use the Distressed Weathered Wood, this is what I used for her skirt and his pants. And then just a dot of the barn door, which is the seal on the envelope there. I don't know if you can see it or not. I also use a Micron. This is a 01 size, very small. I use it to connect the stamps sometimes or to add in my own drawing, which you'll see as I go along. Another thing you might notice, this set of stamps I have not clean mounted yet, and so I just roll up double-sided painter's, or I just roll up painter's tape. It's not double-sided. Just plain old painter's tape on a roll it up, and stick it down. So you'll notice that probably as well. And for the clouds and inking, I just use a makeup sponge, which is one that's been well used with a variety of colors. So you'll see me using that as well. Alright, let's get started. And for when I do this, I usually start with my base images to set the tone of what stamps I want to use. We're going to start with this gentleman, and all these stamps, I will have a list of them on the blog posts, which will be linked below this video. And this guy I just love. He is so detailed and so fun. Takes the ink really well. And let me get this placed on here. I'm going to try to do this the same as I had done it before, just so you guys can kind of see. And because I don't have this cling cushion, I just really want to give it a little bit of pressure. I'm working on a tiny table here. Get a nice stamped image. We'll take that one to the side, just peel it off of there. And then next I like to add the woman here. And put her about there. And leave it to me to make a mess with the ink. I typically do that. Usually I will have ink all over me by the time I'm done. So I apologize if you don't like seeing ink everywhere. It's a hazard. See, I've already got it on me. But let's go ahead, and I like to place it basically when I'm making my envelopes. I try to decide if I'm going to have enough room for an address. As long as you can put it, you don't have to have the address directly in the middle, contrary to what a lot of people probably believe. And I usually put my return address on the back, so I don't mind if I cover the space at all, as long as I have a space for an address somewhere in the front. And you can see here, I've got them, I've got plenty of space for an address, and this is a really large envelope. I mean, my hands fit right through there. So, the next portion, once I've got this, I have plenty of room, so I'm going to go ahead and add my base. And what I did was, I had stamped this fabulous fence that has like little grass in behind it, and I really love it. It perfectly sets this. And one thing I'll show you, typically I make masks of my stamps, and if you're not sure what a mask is, it's basically where you stamp your image and then you cut it out, which you can kind of see here on plain paper or whatnot, and then you can use it to hide that spot so you don't end up with ink covering it. And so what I'm going to do real quick, because I haven't had time to cut one out, is I'm just going to put a little scrap paper over some of the areas that I know are going to probably get ink on them. And I just have plain paper that actually was a scrap I'd cut something out of. And I'm just going to set this kind of over it. And that looks good. And then we're going to go ahead and ink this. And that paper is going to move, so like all stamping, you want to make sure that you try to push just straight up and down. Don't slide, don't rock it. You want to get a nice clean stamped image. And I'm going to try to go kind of off the edge a little bit because I want to make sure that the image is cohesive. It goes all the way across. It looks great. You can slide this. And now, oops, the horse looks like he's kind of in front of that. Because this is so small, it makes a better background image than a foreground. And if you don't feel like doing that, it doesn't matter. On my first one, actually, I didn't cover it. And this one I'm going to go a little bit. I'm not going to overlap them, which you'll see why here in a minute. Perfect. And then we'll just go off the edge here. And I'm just going to ink up this far corner because I just want to get a little bit on there. Alright, now you can see here that my image does not completely come together. That is 100% okay, even by the legs. That's where the micron comes in. I just kind of scratchily draw some lines in there, maybe some dots, and it puts the image right together. And unless somebody knows that stamp by heart, they're not going to even notice that that image was not all one ginormous stamp. And you can see here, and feel free to add flowers, whatever detail you want. Now that I've done that, I have the space I left out for the I am just a Raggedy Ann in a Barbie doll world, and I love it. So I really want to make sure I have enough room to put it in there, and I do. And I kind of put it below the girl. This letterman's supposed to be kind of delivering the message to her, I thought. So, squish that on there. Beautiful. And when I did this one, I did add the mountains. I stamped them in brown over here. And they were stamped in frayed burlap, which I actually grabbed here. And I forgot to tell you that one. And it will overlap by this horse because the stamp I have kind of cuts off. I want it to, I like that because it's perfect to go against this flatter edge. So just kind of ink that up. I'm trying to do this quickly, guys, so I'm sorry if this video ends up a little bit long. And I did move that, but you can't even tell. Wonderful. Just wipe that ink off of there. And there the mountains are. They look great. Now, to add this base color down here, that's where I'm going to use my makeup sponge that I've got here in brown. And you can use any color brown ink you have or want. And actually keep it a little bit lighter. I think I did use the frayed burlap on this lower. Just take it and kind of dab it across there. Try and keep it in. And you could have added green because, you know, there is a grassy image here. And can go as light as you want, as dark. I'm also adding some color to those mountains. And then I'm kind of going over below the horse because I want it to look like they kind of went behind her. And if you wanted, you could just kind of scratchily go over those, or detailed, and make the mountains come through behind her. That's up to you. You can spend as much time or as little on that as you want. I'll probably go back in and do that a little later. Next, the fun part here, we are going to add clouds. And for this, I have a piece of paper. Thanks to a friend of mine that gave me this idea to keep it. I used to always do this and throw them away. This is just a piece of cardstock with the edges ripped haphazardly. And you can see I've used it to spray and color. I'm going to use this to add the clouds. Now, a lot of this you can notice, the clouds are more white towards the top, which is because the sun would be shining up. So that's what I'm going to do. You can do it any way you want. You can use plain paper. You don't have to keep your paper. That's up to you. And again, a makeup sponge. Just dab it on there, and oops, gotta hold on to the envelope though. Just take it and then move it, and just keep moving around. Just kind of. And I just do it a couple of layers lightly, and you'll start to see the color build, because you do want it to crisscross and go over, because clouds aren't nice and neat. They're just kind of here and there and kind of every which direction. Don't forget to go over by your edges. You do want everything to kind of come together. And it's okay to do a couple going the opposite direction too, just to give it a little bit more shading and depth, and I kind of really like that. And you can put color in your address space. Don't think that you can't. That is completely okay. And then sometimes I'll just kind of sponge around. So let me let you see this. Now I've got some clouds here, and you can add more than one color, it doesn't matter. For the last thing here, last two things I should say, I'm going to add these birds, and I'm going to go back to my VersaFine ink here. And I don't re-ink every time I stamp them, because I want some to be more present, some to be kind of faded away. Just kind of put them on there. And then next, last, and this one I mostly add when I'm going to be giving the envelope away, or like this, I want to show somebody that it is an envelope. And this is a fabulous place stamp here, so that people know you really can mail these. Post office doesn't mind as long as you put postage on it. Put it on there. And there you have it, the base of the envelope. Now I'm not going to color this because I have taken up way too much of your time, but again, these are the colors I used. Very easy, you just color it in. Don't be afraid to, add detail around the edges of the horse, and you can see this is a color that's just barely different than the paper, and it adds depth and kind of makes it pop off your page, which you can see now that I did that. It gives it some kind of 3D texture. Thank you for watching the video. Feel free to leave comments and tell us you stopped by. Thank you.